is that?
Hello and welcome to the first in this series of me talking about pieces for want of better things to do at the moment. We've chosen Owls by Elgar, not only because it's a really important piece for our choir's history, but it's also one of Elgar's most baffling pieces. So it's great to have this opportunity to look at some of the mysteries hidden inside it, and there are many. And if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to raise, then please do post them below, and I'll be very happy to look through them and see if I can help with any. One of the problems about Owls is that we never quite know if we're dealing with some overbaked attempt at a morose joke, or actually something more darkly sinister. Elgar did actually write some thoughts down about the piece, which he sent to his publisher, saying, "It is only a fantasy and means nothing. It is in a wood at night, evidently, and the recurring nothing is only an owlish sound." There's also a strange name which appears at the top of the piece, Pietro da Alba. If we translate this from the Italian, then it actually turns out to be Caris's pet Angora rabbit Peter. So here's the connection with Caris Elgar. But I think it actually goes deeper than this, because Elgar seemed to gain a lot of companionship and actually artistic inspiration from this unusually perceptive bunny. And I've often wondered maybe if the piece is written from the rabbit's perspective, it would certainly account for the more jittery aspects of the music, like the sort of incessant twitching you always see on rabbits.
What is that?
The relationship between Caris and her father very often included jokes, and especially animals. So it's quite possible that Owls was intended as another way of entertaining Caris, using her wonderful pet rabbit Peter. But I think there is something a bit more hair-raising to the piece than it just being a more morose version of Beatrix Potter.
Look! Jesus Christ!
First is this aesthetic of secrecy. Nothing much is revealed by the text, which actually Elgar wrote himself, and instead we keep hearing the phrase, "all that can be or could be is said." This withholding of information makes the piece all the more disconcerting, and actually aligns it with a fascination for secrecy that belonged very much to Elgar's age, no doubt linked to numerous public scandals that further revealed what lay beneath the facade of Victorian Edwardian sensibility. Elgar most visibly took part in this with his Enigma variations. The harmonic journey in Owls also plays a conscious part in its aim to not give too much away. In the foreground, Elgar's chromaticism not only serves to create eerie, owlish sounds, but also to undermine a sense of stable tonality. Now, as we know, the use of chromaticism to muddy the tonal waters was by no means exclusive to Elgar's music. But what is curious here is the background chromaticism, which haunts and manipulates the piece on a structural level. When we begin the second verse, the piece basically restarts, but everything appears a semitone higher than in the original. It's almost like something has caused the music to become tonally dislodged. This new area is very close to the original in terms of pitch and voice leading, but harmonically speaking, it couldn't be further away. the music then sneaks back to the initial tonality for the third and final verse in much the same way that it was diverted from it in the first place. So even though Elgar allegedly thought that owls meant nothing, it actually turns out to be an incredibly valuable and meaningful piece. While it never comes close to the kind of atonality that was being practiced by other modernist composers of this era, it's almost more scary than this in the fact that it places satire, subversion, and secrecy within this very traditional or domesticated framework that was the part song by this stage. In many ways, Elgar is being a little bit like his contemporary ghostwriter M.R. James, who brought phantoms closer into the familiar lives of his subjects, only to then realise that it's actually inside us where the ghosts are living.
What is it?
And on that note, I just want to leave you with the full performance of the piece, which comes from our concert in Helsinki in 2020, and I really hope that you now gain more from it. Again, please do comment or ask a question below if you'd like to, and thank you very much for watching.
What is that? What is it? What is that? Oh.